Hi guys, this is Vinay Deshpande from Dare to Show Up. I'm happy to welcome you back in this series of conversation showing up in life with Vinay. In our life, we meet different people. Some of them we feel are born gifted, naturally talented, and others who are intelligent and put hard work to reach where they want to be in their life. My today's guest, I would say, falls in the second category. He is intelligent, he has varied interest in life, and he has put together his interest in literature and creative writing to the best use in numbers and accounting to be where he is today in the field of internal audit. So let's meet Sachin Aroskar. Hi Sachin, good morning.
Good morning, Vinay. Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. And how are you today?
I'm good, very good. So
Yes, yes.
thank you for joining this conversation series, showing up in life with Vinay, and I'm really happy that you agreed to talk to me because there are so many topics and so many things that I really we can cover in our conversations that I believe, especially with your kind of personality who has interest in so many different topics. So I'm really looking forward to have this conversation with you. So thank you so much.
Pleasure is all mine, Vinay. Thank you so much for inviting me and making me a part of this very interesting initiative that you have taken uh, to ask people to show up as they want to. It's a very interesting thing. In this part of the world where I live, people still don't speak up much about themselves. They are willing to talk on all the subjects, right from politics to everything else. But if you ask them to open up on the forum, they hesitate. And hence, it is of a particular importance and interest that you make people show up, you make them think and express, allow them to express themselves and talk. It's a very good initiative. I congratulate you for that.
Thank you. That's interesting. And just for the knowledge of our viewers, Sachin is joining from Mumbai, and I'm right now here in Basel. That's why we are doing it on Zoom. And another thing which is really important is the disclaimer that Sachin is expressing his views in his own personal capacity. So not as a representative of any of the current or past organizations.
Thank you so much, Vinay, for making it clear. At the risk of repetition, as I always state this wherever I'm a speaker or wherever I'm publicly interacting, all the views which are being expressed here in this conversation are my own personal views. They are not influenced or they do not represent the views of my current or any of my past employers. Thank you.
When you were saying that, I was just thinking, is it Sachin who I know, or is it Sachin, the experienced auditor who is speaking, who is making it all the risk and compliances clear?
Well, it's a bit of both, as you know. It's a bit of both.
Yeah, let's go back to what you said earlier, showing up in life the way people want to show up, and that's the purpose. What I really work for, or that drives me in my work. So when I say showing up in life as you want to, what comes up for you?
Well, let me think aloud. And as I'm answering this, the thoughts gather to my mind and they are just coming out impromptu. So when you say show up the way you want to, it is for me uh, sharing with someone with whom I have a long shared context and a history, my journey in life, my own small or big successes and failures, my own struggles, my strengths, my limitations, and the overall journey that I have undertaken so far, which is long and arduous, but still which is worth taking and enjoying. So it's all of it. And at the end of it, I would say it has had so many ups, it has had so many downs, but on the whole, they haven't had a dull moment. It has always been worth living and worth enjoying. So that's what I think it is when I say show up the way you want.
Wow, that you actually made that point. It has a lot of ups and downs, and suddenly, obviously, immediately, what comes up is our cardio. That's why we are alive. If the
Absolutely.
cardio becomes straight line, you're dead. So it's always ups and down that makes the life so rich, and that's why we are alive. So what when you are up and down, what actually, and I'm here thinking from your personality, maybe is certain habits or whatever really helped you to really be consistently enjoy or show up in life in that up and down phase.
Let me take a throwback in time to late 80s or mid and late 80s when I was completing my high school. So during those days, which is typically about 34 years, 35 years ago, uh, people did not make career choices as informed way as they make it today. For a lot of us, it used to be what our friends do, what is fashionable to do, what is the norm of the day, and stuff like that. So the first sort of revelation, I would say, is to know or to be aware of what is it that I would like to do with myself, with my career, and with my professional life. As a student, I was always an above average student, not a star student by any means or any stretch of imagination, but I was quite above average. And hence there were typical expectations from all around me that he would pursue a career in engineering or a medicine, or if he chooses to go to commerce, he'll become a chartered accountant or something like that. So, so the first glimpses of the journey are taking time out to understand what I would like to do in life. And I vividly remember that that choice was very difficult for me because though instantly I was knowing so many things that I did not want to do or I did not like doing, it was very difficult for me to decide what I really liked doing. You see, and I feel and my interactions with people tell me that there's so many of us who can quickly say that I don't want to do this, or I don't like this, or I can't imagine myself doing this. But it takes a time and a while for us to understand what would I like to do as a career, as a vocation, or as something which I'm happy doing for the large part of the career of my life. So this is part A to your answer.
I can imagine because I remember all our interactions where you had all interests when we talk about if right whether it's from politics to sports to literature to economics, and you come across as a very studious person who can and when you were talking about different choices, I mean we come across in our lives different people. Some of them they are naturally born talented and gifted, as we say. So whereas some people, they are intelligent, but at the same time, we have to put a lot of hard work to reach certain level. And for me, it is, I see you more like an intelligent person who is really not afraid of putting that hard work and to reach certain or to achieve certain goals. So that's how I see you. So how does that actually, that hard work plays in your life?
So it's an interesting question again. So let's do a little for fast forward and let's go to the ending years of our college education, of our graduation. So I decided, like you, to pursue my cost accountancy along with my graduation, and I graduated in the year 92 and I became a cost accountant in 93. How I could fast forward it is the intermediate part I had completed when I was doing my graduation. And as the luck would have it, I got into a job in early 94 at the age of 23. So my first job took me after a brief a traineeship with a textiles company. It took me to a company wherein I was placed as a plant accountant plus an MIS guy, and I did that job for 2.5 years, wherein all the days in the week I would be on a plant, and only on weekends I'll come back. So though the job was very interesting and everything I was doing was a net learning, Over a period of time, I figured out that my best strengths lied out of what I was doing. Number one, I was very good at numbers. I was very good at understanding the technical processes of the job, and that sort of gave me early successes in my career. But what I was missing was number one, a corporate headquarters life, and number two, a lot of interactions with people, which I learned back then that I was good at. I was I was good at articulation. I had languages was my strength, whether it is Marathi or English or Hindi. And I thought if I blend my technical skills and skills with numbers with my articulation skills, presentation skills, probably I will do a little better in my life. And that's where, after spending about 2.5 years in plant accounting role, I made a very early shift into the field of internal audit back in 1996. That was the first lateral journey, and that was the first major decision that I took, which was not a decision by uh, a, by a normal course, but that was a decision by choice. And we will speak a little more about it at a later stage. But that I clearly remember as a decision which impacted my life a lot and paid me rich dividends later on.
Yeah, that's an very interesting example of how you can make, first of all, how you can be aware of your strengths and how can you put them to best use in your career and make an informed decision or informed choices. So that's an excellent example there. Of course, you have moved or shifted through different industries as well. Were those also the informed choices, decisions, or they just happened?
Well, the first choice of joining as an internal auditor in a mid-size boutique consultancy internal audit firm was purely by choice, because back then in 1996, the world was much more regulated in terms of what a person's background training is versus what he can do. Those norms were very fixed. So as a young cost accountant, cost and management accountant, uh, I had not many choices available to work as internal auditor. So the first choice that I got, I presented myself in, and I worked there for 18 months. One of the toughest experiences, because the system was still not accepting me into that mainfold role as an auditor. But I was determined to prove myself. Those 18 months gave me a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of challenges. Uh, it made me much more gritty and determined. And after those 18 months, I sort of landed as a mainstream internal auditor and joined Bombay Dyeing, where I had done my earlier traineeship into the first formal role as internal audit manager, which experiences lasted for 4 years. So that was the first choice, and then the second option was more by design. Was my decision, and later on, as the opportunities came by, I kept on doing that and accepting them.
I'm becoming more curious when you said the system was not necessarily accepting you there as an auditor. So, and obviously you might have also faced a lot of different challenges. So what were the real challenges? Because that makes you more determined and gritty. So how did you, what were the challenges? Any examples there?
Uh, the first and foremost example was back then, the understanding was that if someone has started off his career as an accountant, that too in a plant or a manufacturing facility, then it would be very difficult for him, if it is not impossible, to to quickly learn the basics and the requirements of the role of an internal auditor, whose role is seen more onto the accounting standard, auditing standards, and more intertwined with the corporate responsibilities, right? So that journey from a factory or a manufacturing place to a corporate was was the longest one, the biggest one. But the eureka moment, the wow moment was that when I was able to demonstrate to a lot of clients, because as internal auditors, we were hired by various industries, refractories, adhesive companies, chemical companies, a large conglomerate with diversified interests. All those clients, when I started working with them, what I could demonstrate is because I understand the underlying technical manufacturing so well, because I had cut my teeth there, it is relatively easier for me to understand the accounting nuances, to understand the reporting nuances, because I understand what lies beneath. What is the underlying liability asset? What is the actual on the ground aspect of P&L? So this knowledge of underlying business and industry, which I had acquired early, has not only then but now also has stayed me in good shape wherever I have taken my next responsibility, which has been very different from my previous one at the successively higher positions and responsibilities. If one thing has helped me, it is my ability, which has come out with my experiences, to quickly grasp how the underlying business works, where the money is made, where the money is lost. Those business dynamics, business drivers, if you have a good understanding of that, I think the rest of the journey becomes easy. And that has been my experience.
Fantastic. Yeah. Which is clear. At the same time, it must be really exhausting, right? If you have to really prove yourself to create your own space in that profession, then it sometimes I can understand that it could be exhausting, and at some point of time, sometimes did the thought of like, oh no, why did I come here? Maybe I could have gone, or maybe I should change my career's direction. Did that cross your mind?
Quite a few times, to be honest. Yes, quite a few times. But it is like this. You see, as you know me so well, and we have a shared friendship and a shared history of almost 35 plus years. You would know that my core interests, my life's calling, lies in literature, all aspects of literature: theater, poetry, uh, fiction, non-fiction, both of Marathi and English, music, all of that. So if I had got a chance to make a real career, I would have made it in these fields. But having once chosen that if you want to make a career which also has to be materially successful and which has to sort of achieve the norms which the world goes by, then because by training I'm a finance professional, and I had decided that I will do a career a little away from my heart's calling, then within that domain, within the domain of finance, whether it is cost accounting, management accounting, or internal audit, or commercial, which is also a role I have played, all that becomes the same. Because anyway, I'm good at all of those, and I can do all of those. If I had to really followed my heart's calling, it would have been anyway away from the field of finance and commerce. So that didn't become that much difficult.
Right. At the same time, does those interests in other field help you somewhere in your professional journey?
It does. Actually, it's a very good question you've asked. A very important question, because a lot of people think, and I also thought at one point of time, that if my heart's calling, or if my first interest in life doesn't become my profession or vocation, then it's going to be a difficult phase, and I have to spend the life always, in the second best kind of a interest. But increasingly in the later years of my life, what I have understood, Vinay, is anything that you do out of interest, if you do it with a lot of passion, with a lot of commitment, it all comes back. I'll give you an example. In my early career, I developed a lot of interest in creative copywriting, which is a part of advertising. Now, I was doing a job of internal audit in Bombay Dyeing, but I so desperately wanted to do a creative copywriting workshop. That time, a formal training in creative copywriting was provided by an institute called AAAFI, the Institute of Advertising Association of India, AAAI. That institute was at Kaf Parade, and they used to take copywriting classes between 5 to 8 in the evening. I took a special permission from my manager, who was kind enough to let me leave the office at 4 o'clock. At Mahalakshmi, I used to go to Churchgate every day. And thrice a day in a week, I used to do that copywriting training. I did it for 3 months. I got a certificate. And if somebody asks me that, has that official certificate that I'm a trained creative copywriter in advertising, has helped me in my career immensely. How? Because if one thing that training and that workshop taught me was that you have your message to be delivered in 30 seconds, at times 15 seconds. You may have so many things to say about a situation, a product, or a service, but all you have is 30 seconds, 15 seconds. Little did I know that 30 years after that date, or maybe 27, 28 after that date, when I stand in front of the audit committee of the board, and when they ask a pointed question, of which the answer could be in paragraphs, but if I have to give an answer in a sentence or two, without me understanding and knowing, the training in my creative copywriting helps me. Here, the creativity part may not be there because as an auditor, you speak always based on the facts and figures and evidences, but the articulation and the summarization actually comes from that training. This is one example I can share, that you do anything across, if you do it seriously and with passion, it all comes back to you.
Super. And I fully agree there, because one thing which when I was working as a finance professional, my CEO told me that, okay, as a finance, you are not just looking at the numbers, but actually you should be able to tell the story behind the numbers.
Precisely.
And that's exactly what you are saying about, and how creatively, or how interestingly you can tell that numbers or the story behind the numbers, and can really engage your audience, whether they are whether it's a board meeting or whether it's a real monthly reporting. That's really matters.
Precisely. Also, it also tells you that at times of high tensions, if you can quip something funny during that, it really brings the tension down. It just makes the atmosphere more informal, more friendly, and you can see some smiles on the face of very senior and otherwise serious people. This is another art which a creative pursuit gives you, which is so essential and so refreshing in places like boardrooms.
Absolutely, absolutely. How are you? I mean, what are you doing, for example, now when you are in your busy professional life? How are you maintaining still the connection with that passion about literature or music or theater?
Someone in our conversations, a good dear friend, mentioned that if you are serious about health, then treat your health as your client, and then you'll make all the time available for it. So similar thing, I'll say that treat your interest as your client. In addition to what our friend said, treat your interest as your client. Here, another thing is, you need a determination of Samir to treat health as your client, but you need lesser determination to treat your interest as your client, because you enjoy the time you spend on the hobby. So in my own personal case, what I do is my Sundays are reserved for complete unwinding. On that day, to the extent possible, I do not look at work. If I have to do some work, it has to be done. I'll do it on on Saturdays, Friday nights. Sundays are completely free. On Sundays, I will read one book or a part of one book, which is from a literary world. Somebody who has, I have a separate circle of influence where people read a lot from the contemporary Marathi literature, English literature, theater. So I'll either read a book or I'll see a theater. My brother was recently down from US, and we went and saw a Marathi epic drama called Vada Chiribandi, which was there at Parla. It is a wonderful epic theater written by Mahesh L. Kunswar, directed by Chandrakant Kulkarni, and it's so refreshing to see something which is miles away, light years away from your area of profession. So something like this, spending time in your deep interest for one day in a week, makes you ready to take the challenges on every Monday morning.
there are certain things, and you initially you spoke about making an informed choice. But however, you might make an informed choices or decision and a plan that I want to do this and I want to go in that direction. There are certain things which might come up in our life which we never thought about or which never planned for. How did, I mean, what happened? Maybe if you could just take me through that phase.
So I'll talk about the professional journey, and you said that many a times things don't work out the way you want them to work out. So about I'll say 15 years ago, I had a very fledgling, interesting career in the domain of upstream oil and gas, wherein I was the commercial head of 7 exploration blocks in the Middle East area, and I was spending and sharing my time between Mumbai and Dubai, wherein I was responsible for all the commercial aspects of exploration blocks, and that then seemed to be my career for the rest of my life, because out of those 7 exploration blocks, had two given the kind of expected success, anybody who understands the world of upstream oil and gas, a commercially hugely successful exploration field has a productive life of 20 to 25 years. So it would have seen me my complete service there, and I would have retired in that profession. But as the luck would have it, all 7 blocks did not succeed. All of them went dry. Only one had a successful oil discovery, but that was in a geopolitically very difficult area. So though oil was there, the oil evacuation was impossible because of the geopolitical tensions in that area. The field was in northern Iraq. As a result of which, it was very clear that the Middle East exploration piece was not going anywhere. Of course, I was working with the organization such a long period that there was no risk to the job, but the choice available was to laterally shift to the Indian exploration scene, where already there were so many people doing various held jobs that I would have been one amongst them. And it would have been, then to my mind, it occurred that the kind of growth and the kind of speed I was experiencing in my career wouldn't have been there had I taken that kind of a choice. So this was definitely, at least then it sounded that a very quickly developing career, something which I was enjoying doing, I was very excited to do, and it was sure that we will see it happening big. Actually did not happen. And from that position, I not only did leave the organization and joined another one, but I also left that job of commercial head or commercial sector head of exploration oil and gas blocks to the role of head of audit for one of the large verticals of another big conglomerate. So in a short span of 6 months, there were 3 changes. I changed the company, I came out of my profile, and I also changed the industry from upstream oil and gas to power and shipping. So this was the change at its best or at its worst, whatever you can say. And definitely then it sounded that it was a position back in a career. How did I deal with it? Again, let truth be told, initially I was not happy accepting it. I always kept thinking in my mind and looking at the closed door that the opportunity would have given me and all that. But eventually I saw the truth as it was and decided that good, I have seen one career for a certain amount of time. Let us try and understand how the world of power generation, power transmission, ports, and shipping works. And eventually, in that company also, I got an opportunity in oil and gas, and things worked out very well. In fact, the earlier experience helped me further grow and put me in a position as deputy head of audit for that largest exploration company and a refining industry in that conglomerate, from where I'm in my current role. So now I can see that whenever the changes happen, and sometimes the changes are drastic, they look like failures, they look like uh, setbacks. But if you take them in the right stride, they will open new doors for you. And if you are resilient enough, they will, in fact, improve your bandwidth so that you are more ready to take challenges very laterally in life.
Yep. And I can see that how you did it, because in the profession where, as you say, there was difficulty in accepting you as an auditor, you reached the level of executive vice president in that profession of internal audit. So hats off to you. Congratulations.
Thank you. To be honest, again, I would give a large part of this journey. The credit goes to luck. The credit also goes to growing up with very good friends. I mean, I'm not saying this because one of them is I'm interacting with, but it does matter. I will my sort of advice to all my young friends and the next generation is if you are blessed with right friends at the right age and right time, they can do wonders because they basically make you multifarious. They expand your uh, vision. They make you ready for the future. And at the end of the day, they also are available whenever you have your joys or sorrows to share. So that is another reason I think why all of us have been able to do well in life, despite having a modest beginning.
Absolutely. How much the family played the part in your growth?
Oh, a very big role, I'll say. Like all of us, most of us, my parents have been my role models. My mom represented probably the first generation of full-time working women, of women having a day job. She started her career in Reserve Bank of India in the year 1961, where it was not a norm for a lady to take a full-time job. And she has been a mentor to both me and my brother. My dad typically was someone whom I wanted to be like for a large part of my career, and I still look upon him. At the age of 84, he's leading a very happy, content, and disciplined life. So these two. Also, my brother, my younger brother, is academically very bright and has done well for himself. He lives in the Silicon Valley, and he works as a senior software engineer for Netflix. So at home, you have a very competitive advantage where you have to do at least as well as your brother does. So automatically, there was no chance for you not trying to reach your potential. So subsequently, my wife, my sweetheart, and my longtime partner, she also academically was better than me. And my daughter Mrunal, who continues to be a very good friend and a source of inspiration. So all of them, your close family as well as your extended family, they all make a big part of a success. And not only success, but they are the best support system that you have when the things are not going right for you. They are always there. They don't judge you by how successful you are, how much salary do you earn, what positions do you hold, or how many people report to you. They like you for what you are, with all your pluses and minuses.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've seen that video with interview with Supriya, the conversation with Supriya, where she mentioned about this pivot food as a concept, and exactly like as you said, family is somewhere where it's your anchor. So they
Very
really
true.
support you for who you
Very
are.
true. Very true. So you mentioned about the sudden surgery that I had to go through, and literally from a work life wherein one grinds about 50 hours a week, 50 to 60 hours a week. I had 7 weeks of complete stoppage of work and recuperating from the surgery. This time, it was the family, it was the friends who basically came to the rescue, and in a way, the audiobooks, because I was not able to read, but my first calling, the books, all the audiobooks that I could listen to and I could go through, were my friends during this time. And I always think that if I was not interested in reading, if I did not know what to suddenly do with this available time, what would have I done? But again, those original hobbies, the first life hobbies, really kept as friends with me, and I could happily spend this time when I was not allowed to read much, but still I had a very interesting time spending with my friends, with family, and with books.
Super. Wow, I did not realize how fast the time went, Sachin. As always, speaking with you.
Me too, me too. And it was so refreshing, and also let me tell you that never have I sort of reflected like this upon my own journey, because
Mm.
because nobody basically had this kind of a conversation with me. So this process of showing up in life the way you want has really allowed me to take a step back and look at my own journey the way that you sort of brought it out.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It was so refreshing. The word that you use is as well refreshing for me and to connect with you at this level. So once again, thank you so much. And I wish you all the best for the rest of the journey.
Thanks so much, sir, Vinay, and the pleasure is all mine, as I said. And you too, take care. I wish you all the success in the endeavor that you have started. If I have a minute or two before we close, I would also like to really compliment you, because the kind of career steps that you have taken in your own career across geographies, across countries, and across chosen professions. I'm very sure that your own journey, whenever you decide to tell it to others, is going to be a very interesting one and very revealing one. So I also appeal upon you to someday take us through your own interesting story and journey, which would be inspirational for quite a few of us. Thank you.
Thank you.